The cost of IT in business can be staggering. From hardware and software expenses to services like internet and phone, you don't need to spend a fortune on IT to succeed. If your organization spends more than $500 monthly on any service, or you're considering signing a long-term contract, IT Enabled can help you manage your technology and minimize your costs. Contact us today to schedule a free consultation. IT Enabled, we're here to help.
Hi, I'm Tara Watson-Watkins, President and CEO of the Lufkin Angelina County Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to the Connect podcast, connecting business to community. I'm here today with my co-host, Blake Polino with BP Media Group.
So this week we have an extremely interesting episode. I genuinely could not stop thinking about it after we recorded it. So this week we sit down with Brad Davis of the Lufkin Police Department to talk about the current environment with the Lufkin Police Department, what's going on, traffic safety, why we shouldn't be speeding and how it's affecting all of the resources that we have and how they're bringing on new police officers and just tons and tons of great information if you live in this community. So let's get into that episode now.
Well, we're welcome to have Brad Davis. Brad is with the Lufkin Police Department, and I've worked with Brad for many, many years, so thanks for coming.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you here. Why don't you talk about your background, where you grew up and how you got to Lufkin and how you became a police officer, and then we'll kind of go into all the other details.
Yeah, so born in Marshall, kind of still the East Texas area. At a very early age, I was only a couple of years old. Parents moved here to Lufkin. Dad worked for the gas company and got a promotion, transferred here kind of thing. So that's kind of what brought us to Lufkin. Yeah. Grew up here, went to various schools in the area, graduated from Central High School in 2002.
Did you always want to be a police officer?
No. In high school, I always wanted to do something exciting,
You did find something exciting.
Yeah.
You got that far.
Yeah, so originally kind of what I'd looked at doing was going to the military, right? Like I felt like that was kind of my calling, was to go to the military. And, a series of decisions, kind of prevented me from going that direction. And so I ended up kind of staying here locally, doing a couple of odds and end jobs, some pretty cool jobs, some pretty random jobs, and but I just kind of found myself kind of always searching for something more, doing something fulfilling. By that time, I was getting close to being 21 years old, and so then I'd kind of balance trying to go back to the military, instead of going in at 18, going in a little bit later. And I'd had some friends, some different contacts and stuff that had gone into law enforcement that I'd kind of known growing up. And that had always kind of appealed to me a little bit, but it was never really something that was at the forefront of my mind. And anyway, I just kind of got to weighing it and thinking about it a little bit more and decided I'd give law enforcement a go instead of the military. And fast forward 17 years, and here I am.
Yeah.
Still here.
And you do a little bit of everything for Lufkin PD. So, you're over traffic, you're over anything that's happening downtown, you're over the SWAT. So I think you found your excitement. Yeah,
I definitely did. So I've been very fortunate kind of over my career to not get just stuck in one aspect of law enforcement. I've had the opportunity to do, several different things. Promoted several years ago. And again, just been very fortunate in my career path. Had some good leadership that's given me some good opportunities to advance and to do different things. And so now I'm kind of got my hands in a little bit of everything, but not too deep into anything. I do a little bit of everything. So traffic safety. I'm over kind of our traffic division. Over special events. So anything to do with downtown, any large scale events kind of in the city of Lufkin. Mm-hmm. Somewhere on the back end of things, I'm going to have my hand in that, whether it's planning for traffic control, planning for security, whatever aspects kind of go on behind the scenes for large scale events, typically got my hand in. And, I've been a part of the SWAT team, the Lufkin SWAT team for since about 2012. So I've been doing that for about 8 years. And I've been over that for about the past year.
That's awesome. Well, I want to dig into some of these different roles that you have. So let's start with traffic safety. What does that mean in Lufkin? I know we're growing, and if you've ever spent any time on the roads, like November, December, we do have traffic. It does happen from time to time.
Yeah,
What does that entail for the city of Lufkin? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of different programs. Like this last year wasn't a good year for us. Typically we'll have a few fatality accidents, unfortunately, across the city. In 2021, we had 11, and I know Chamber was personally affected by one of those, as many people throughout the community are. It's always tragic whenever that kind of stuff happens. So obviously, like, part of our job is traffic enforcement, right? If you get used to driving down whatever road it is that you drive down, going to school, going to work every day, if you never drive past a cop, at some point you start becoming more likely to drive a little faster. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
or maybe run that red light by a little bit. So big part of our job is just being out there, being seen. What do you do if you're driving around the loop and you come around the corner, you come around the hill, and there's a cop sitting on the side of the road? Like, what's your instinct?
Slam on
the brakes.
Slam on your brakes.
And
right?
pray. Yeah.
Yeah. If you weren't wearing your seatbelt, what do you do?
Yeah.
Grab it.
Just real.
Nonchalant,
Sure.
that sort of thing. So, I mean, obviously just seeing us, just our presence changes behavior.
Yeah.
And so like that's a big aspect of it. And there's a couple of things that we're trying to do because we had such a bad year last year. There's a couple of things that we're trying to do. Media campaigning. If you guys follow like a Facebook page or like whatever social media the department does, over this next year, you're going to see like a pretty big media campaign for traffic safety. Eduardo Ibarra is kind of leading the charge on that. So if you guys pay attention to any of that kind of stuff, you'll probably get used to seeing his face and hearing his voice over the next few months anyway. So that's kind of what it looks like right now. I mean, it's just being seen is probably one of the more important things that we can do.
It's definitely changed a lot here in the past few years. We joke all the time that the loop in Lufkin is kind of the wild, wild west right now. I mean, it's like, it's so fast. I was driving, and I was trying to merge on, actually not here far from the chamber, this little on-ramp here, and like, you just have to stop and wait. And I was like, are there that many more people?
Well, and if you stop and wait, you're going to get run over.
You're going to get run over. I was like, why is it so much harder to get on this road? And then I realized it's because everybody's doing 70, and you can't get going that fast on these ramps to get on there. And I was like, wow, Lufkin's driving really fast now, and it's showing in the numbers.
It matters. Us being seen matters.
Yeah,
and no doubt about it.
Is there a cause behind that? I mean, is it just personnel shortage? Kind of what's kind of leading into that?
Yeah, that's going to be probably the most drastic reason why you probably haven't seen as many of us. Like this last year, I think we're down about 20 people.
Oh, wow.
Right.
And that's a lot for a community our size.
Yeah, whenever you're talking about a department our size, 20 guys is a lot.
Yeah.
So, obviously, I mean, we stay pretty busy, even whenever we're full staff. We're a pretty busy department, but whenever you take 25% of you lose 25% of the department, all of a sudden everybody just got a little bit busier and a little bit busier. So there's a whole lot more officers going call to call, not having downtime between calls to go sit on the loop. We used to have like 6 guys dedicated to just traffic safety.
Sure.
We don't really have that anymore because those guys now have to, if you call 911, you need a cop to go to the 911 call,
right?
Not stopped on the side of the road with a car.
Absolutely.
You know, so like if the community had to prioritize, like what's more important, do you want a cop to show up when you call 911, or do you want them to finish up with their traffic stop and then,
right?
You know, like everybody always has that complaint, like you call 911, it feels like you're waiting forever for a cop to show up.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so do you want a cop to be there in 2 minutes or 15?
Yeah.
You know, so you have to weigh that, and you know we have to weigh that as a department too, and so when we talk about our priorities, you've got to fill patrol manpower. You got to make sure guys are there to cover the shifts.
Right.
So that eats into a big part of probably kind of our lack of visibility in the last year and a half.
Gotta prioritize where the people are.
Let's talk about like where you're going, because you and I were visiting. Y'all have hired new recruits. You've got people in academy.
Yeah. So we've obviously, because of our shortages, we've obviously beefed up our recruiting efforts. In the city council, we've got a good city council. We've got a good city administration. They're trying to help us out with those efforts. A few months ago, they gave us fairly significant raises, which is hard to do. We're still in COVID days, right?
Right.
Tax base isn't awesome, so it's hard to find the funds to try to support us and try to get us back where we need to be. But they're really on our side, and they've really done a few things to try to help us out with that. Our starting pay is around $50,000 for our area.
Right.
Yeah.
$50,000 starting pay isn't bad.
Right. Yeah.
Not bad at all. And then they've added a bunch of like little incentive pay packages in there as well. So if you got a college education 6 months ago, that meant nothing at Lufkin PD. At least now, you get a little incentive pay for having an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, a master's degree.
Great.
Incentive pay for prior military service and stuff like that. So city administration, city council have really tried to do a lot to kind of help us out with that, and it has showed. We have 9 people currently in our field training program, which is a lot. We barely have 9 officers that can train them. So like that's a good problem to have, though, that we're getting so many people recruited. But it is hard to train 9 people at the same time for a department our size. So we've got those 9 in training. We've got 4 people that we hired from this last test that, and by the way, we'll send you to the police academy. Like if you get a job with us, like you used to, you have to, be out the money, send yourself to the police academy and stuff like that. We will actually, if you're a good candidate, we will hire you and actually pay your way through the police academy. So that's one thing that we offer now. So we've actually got 4 people right now that are hired, waiting for the next police academy to start.
That's great.
So I think that starts in a couple of weeks. So here in a couple of weeks, we'll have 4 guys that we're sending off to the police academy. They'll be there for 4.5, 5 months.
And
assuming,
is that here? Where is the police academy?
Yeah, so the academy that we try to send them to is here at the college, Angelina College. They have their own police academy over there. Doug Kahn, chief of police over at the college, he kind of runs it. There's some really good guys over there. Jack Stevenson does a lot of the day-to-day stuff with the academy. They do a good job with it there. So yeah, like as long as there's not any COVID vacations, 4.5, 5 months, something like that in the academy, then they have to pass state tests, get licensed. Once they do that, then they'll be eligible to start our field training program, which is another 5+ months long. So if everything goes according to plan, those 4 people will see them in a year.
Wow.
Like that's the turnover process. That's the training process. That's how long it takes us to hire somebody and get them through training before they ever even really count as a number.
Yeah.
So 9 in training, 4 about to start the police academy, and I think we still have 7 openings.
Well, 13 is better than 20.
Yeah, yeah. So making progress. It steps in the right direction, but it takes time. It takes time. But the city's doing some good things to try to help us out.
That's great.
That's great.
What can we do as a community? We want, obviously our police force to be as efficient as possible, right? Like we don't want it to be understaffed and it cause issues like, people driving too fast on the loop. Well, as a community, people wanting to see our community be a better place and a safer place, what can we do, like as citizens, to help with that? Drive slower.
I mean, yeah, you know, like don't be part of the problem.
Right.
You know? Yeah. No, man, I would say the biggest thing that something that means the most to us from the community is just support.
Sure.
You know, like we don't mind coming to work and putting our lives on the line for you guys. Like that's what we signed up to do. That's what we want to do. We come into this job, you know, like we believe in the, you know, that sounds corny, fighting the good fight, so to speak, right?
Sure.
We believe in good versus evil. We believe that if you sit back and do nothing, evil will win every time,
sure.
Right? So we believe in that fight. That's why we come to work. We come to work for y'all, right? We don't do it for ourselves. It's not selfish reasons. Nobody comes to this job and thinks you're going to get rich off of it, right? So nobody gets into this job for selfish reasons. We do this for the community. We do it to benefit you guys. So the biggest thing that you guys can do is just support us.
Sure.
You know, and this is a great community to work in. I can't tell you how often I'm out in public at events, just grabbing lunch, grabbing dinner, you know, whatever it is, you're out in uniform. You know, people from this community, man, they just come up, thank you for your service. You know, like it's always just this, we have a very grateful community.
We do.
And that means more to us than anything.
That's great. Fantastic answer. That's really,
this community is so special.
Yeah.
It really is. You know, we've got our next Connect magazine that's coming out. It's all about giving and, you know, about giving back. And they just, they get it. They give back. They support. I think they pray.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. And we feel it. And
that helps everything. Yeah. So let's talk about something maybe that's a little fun, special events. So I know that could be from anything from the convention center to parades downtown to a street event.
Yeah. Yeah, so that can mean a variety of things. You know, like the only one I don't like doing is the Forest Festival.
Oh, come on.
You know, I hate helping out with that one. No.
Okay, the podcast is over.
No, so yeah, so the cool thing about that is, you know, again, it's something that I'm over, so I'm pretty heavily involved in that. So the cool thing about that is it's something different all the time, right? It keeps the job fun. It keeps it interesting. There's always a new problem that comes up, you know? So it keeps it challenging. It keeps the job from getting boring, from getting mundane, you know? Mm-hmm. Like I don't ever feel like I come to work and I'm doing the same old thing.
Yeah.
You know, so it keeps it fresh, you know, keeps me energized, keeps me going. So yeah, special events, that's probably one of the best parts of my job.
You know, I don't think people that don't put on special events have no clue all that has to go on to make the event happen.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, it's not only the marketing and getting it out to the public, but it's the logistics and the safety. And now with COVID, the COVID protocols and all of that. And, you know, being able to sit down with Brad and to be able to talk about traffic, like with Forest Festival, you know, working with you and your guys and being able to help with the traffic that's coming out, you know, after a Saturday night cheer and palm has happened. When you know that you're going to have this rush of cars coming out or, you know, in the past Bistro or Springfest, things like that. You have to look at the logistics of it and the safety of it. Yeah,
there's a lot of moving parts with it. You know, I think about like 4th of July, right? Like the city. Yeah. City, Mike Love, like several different community partners, Brooks Brothers, come together for 4th of July event up there at the zoo, right?
Thousands of people
show up, and you know, like I know that everybody gripes about the traffic. You know, like I hear a lot of people say, "Man, we don't really like going up there because then you got to deal with the traffic getting out." There's probably 20 to 25 cops that work that event. And then we have about another 25-ish street department employees that help work that event. And, man, we really locked down that traffic plan. We've been doing it for several years. We've got it down. Again, I know people gripe about it, but
it works.
20 minutes after the event is over, pretty much everybody is out of there.
Yeah. That's
so whenever you talk about thousands of people and they're parked all over the loop, in the middle of the loop, in the grass, the expo center is packed. Whenever you talk about getting that many people mobilized and out of an area in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Like,
that's such a petty complaint. I mean,
it is.
We've gone my entire life. I don't think I feel like I've ever waited more than 10 minutes to get out of the parking lot.
Yeah, I know it seems like a lot. You know, it's just like you pull up at a red light and you feel like you're waiting for forever to turn green.
You
but
sit there
if
and
you
where are all these people? Why aren't they at work?
If you've ever timed it, you're never there for like. If you were there for 2 minutes, like
that was probably a really long time.
You probably had to sit through a couple of cycles, right? You know, so I get it. You're sitting in a car, you're not moving, like it really does feel like time's dragging. But whenever you're talking about something on that kind of a scale, you know, there's a lot that goes into getting people out of there in 20 minutes.
That's right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I think we take for granted because maybe you may not even realize a lot of times when it comes to these events how involved you guys are. And I have a great story of that. So we were filming for the chamber actually a few years ago during the Christmas parade, and it's very, very, very heavily staffed. Security's all over the place. So we were flying our drone so we could get some aerial shots of the parade as it's going down. So we're flying over the street, and we're beyond licensed to do this. I mean, we have all of our pilot's license. We have special permits to fly at night, to fly over crowds of people. I mean,
which a lot goes into that.
Oh, man, we spent a ton of time getting
FAA
all that.
is not easy to do.
No. All of the certifications, insurance, everything. It's crazy. So we're flying, and I'm just going up and down First Street, but I'm about level with the roof of the Angelina Hotel downtown. And I kept seeing something really bright shine into the camera of the drone. And I was like, this is really weird. And I turned, and the whole roof of the hotel was just covered with police officers. And right about that time, 3 or 4 officers come running, because I was in the Regions parking lot, come running around the corner to tell me, land the drone. I was like, it's all legal, I promise. And, we land, and everything was fine, and they checked our license, and everything was good. From then on out, we called the non-emergency numbers. Hey, we're gonna be flying. Just want to let you know.
It's us.
So since okay. Then, whoever's running on the city side, they always kind of, hey, just a heads up.
We're gonna have something with
we hired a drone.
Blake's there. Don't shoot it.
It was great.
Don't shoot it down.
Yeah, that was my big fear. Like, please don't shoot that thing down. It's so expensive. But they are there, even if you don't realize it. They are there, and
thank God they're there.
And it's great. It's great to have it. And I didn't realize it until that particular event, where I got to meet some of Lufkin's finest up close and personal. With that, and they were all very friendly. It was actually, we all laughed at it at the end. It was very funny, but they're there, and so we definitely appreciate that. But
so that kind of leads us into SWAT. So let's talk about SWAT.
Yeah. So obviously get a lot of questions and stuff about SWAT.
How often are y'all called?
So that is super variable. Like if we look at last year, 2021. We only had a couple of activations, but if we back up,
which is a great thing.
That's a good thing, by the way. That's a good thing. Kind of boring for us,
right? I know you guys definitely want to be busy, but like not something you really want to be busy often.
Like kind of the context I put it in, like if you play sports or something growing up, right? You practice for baseball.
Mm-hmm.
You go to practice week in, week out, and you practice and you're trying to get good. But if you never have a game, like at some point. Like you practice for the game, right? And if you never get to play the game, but it's a good thing for the community, for us not to have to play the game. But so like last year, just a couple of activations was it. But like 5 or 6 years ago, I think we had somewhere around like 30 activations.
Oh my gosh.
And that's for various things. So like whenever I say like it's super variable, it's super variable.
Yeah.
I mean, it may only be a couple things, but it may be a couple times a month.
Well, the great part is we have it, and we have it available.
It's one of the things you have it if you.
And y'all have a new the big, like, is it a Humvee, the truck?
Yeah,
the Batmobile.
The Batmobile, right? The Bat X. It's a armored car. We added that to the team a couple of years ago. Again, we're talking about how generous the community is.
Yeah.
Those things are not cheap.
Right.
You're talking about actual armored vehicles. Those things they're not cheap. Through various nonprofits, generous donations, we were able to buy that thing. City of Lufkin put up money. Police department put up some money out of their budget, but a big part of that was community. various nonprofits and stuff that got involved. So again, huge shout out to our community. Great community to live and work in.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we train every month. Every month we hold training. We were training twice a month. We had to kind of back off that again because of manpower issues. It's kind of put the whole department in a bind. So we've had to back off on how often we've trained a little bit. We're still training every month, doing various different things, training for various different missions. Again, hopefully we're never needed for a lot of the things that we train and prepare for, but
but it's there.
We don't want to be unprepared for
right.
That one time that we need it.
Absolutely.
Or the one time you need it.
Well, we're definitely glad it's there.
Yeah. And like we do various groups in the community. We try to get with them, like Leadership Lufkin.
That's one of the,
for example. Yeah, like we're one of their
fun
stops,
day,
right?
When you get to scare them to death.
Yeah. So don't give it away for anybody.
It's the best.
I don't know if Blake's ever been.
So I actually was supposed to be in this year's class.
He got COVID.
I got exposed to COVID and couldn't be in it. And the ride along that I was supposed to have been in was the one that got just tons of excitement. That should have been mine.
Man, that's the way it happens. Yeah,
I know.
That's the way it happens.
It just made me that much more sad I wasn't be able to be involved. So
yeah, so we try to partner with various organizations and just kind of do like a show and tell, just kind of give them an inside look, kind of into what we do.
Well, we can't thank you, Brad, enough for all that you do and the police department does to protect our community and for keeping us safe, and just the fact that, like you said, you're prepared. And if something happens, we know we've got a team that's going to take care of us. So we appreciate you very much.
Yeah, that's why we do it. We do it for y'all.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time to come on here and talk to all of our listeners, and so they could better understand this organization and how important it is to our community. And thank you so much for listening to the podcast again this week. We truly appreciate your support. If you want to watch the video version of this podcast, you can find it on the Chamber Facebook page and on the Chamber YouTube channel. Thank you so much, and we will see you next week.